Hi, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Today it's time for a quick tip, and today's tip is actually a very quick tip. It has to do with center punching, and so let's get to that. So these are some examples of the sketchbooks you can get on my merch store. These are blank books, and you can keep track of your projects in them. I use them all the time. They have different useful silversmithing information on the back. This one has a fractions of an inch to decimals to millimeters chart on the back that I use pretty frequently. This one here has gauge to inches to millimeters. That's kind of useful. The one I'm using currently has some flow temperatures for different kinds of solder, but the real feature for me is the dot matrix in the background here, because it helps me to draw better pictures that are more symmetrical. So I really find them useful. I think it might be a good idea if you got yourself one or two, because it's been nice to be able to have a record of the various projects that I've done over the past 4 or 5 years, so I can go back and see how I did them. Today's video is not so much a project as some advice that I learned from somebody. And I either learned this from Flying Chef, who comments on my videos frequently with some really good advice, and I may have heard it from her, or it could have been from one of my patrons. I do not honestly remember, but it is a valuable piece of information that I've used repeatedly since then. So a lot of times when you're getting ready to drill a hole, especially in something small, you want to make sure to put a little dimple into the metal so that the drill bit doesn't chatter around before it decides where to bite into the metal. And most times people use a center punch, and this is a typical center punch. Now the thing that well, a couple of things I don't like about center punches. One is the tips on these aren't very small. This one comes to kind of a flattish end. It leaves kind of a big dimple in the middle. And the other thing about it is that when you're hitting it with a hammer on a piece of metal, it's going to leave a dent in the whole metal. It's going to distort the metal, which is generally not something you want to have do on a little tiny piece of jewelry you're making. Sometimes you're using pretty thin metal, and it can really distort it pretty badly. So I started a long time ago using an awl, which has a much sharper point to it, and that makes for a nice little dimple for the drill bit to catch in. However, when you're hitting it with a hammer, it's still going to dent the metal, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I cut a couple of pieces of 18 gauge copper sheet to do some experimenting on for you. So let's say this is where we want to put our mark. So let's just do it kind of close to the center there. And you can see it's a pretty deep dimple. If you look on the back, it really distorted the metal in a pretty good sized area. So it's just for comparison, show the awl. Gives you a much smaller dimple, but it's still, you can see the dent on the back, if you can, right there. It still leaves a distortion on the back of the metal, and that's kind of undesirable most of the time. So let's try it with a little tiny ball burr. So I'll show you a bigger version of a ball burr in case you've never seen one of these before. If you're an experienced metalsmith and you already know all this stuff, just disregard it, please. That's what a ball burr looks like. It's just a cutting surface that's spherical that goes all the way around on the bits. And they come in all different sizes. Now we're going to use one that's almost too small for me to see. So he's got just a little tiny ball on the end of this one. So let's see if we can create a dimple in this here. So you can see we've got a significant little dimple in there now, and that'll allow us to drill a little bit more easily. So let's do that real quick. Try the first one first. You see there's still a flaring outwards of the metal around the hole there. So that's, again, that's not something you particularly want. This one, let's try this one now. So you can see on the back of this one, it's still pretty flat. No extra little dent there. So I know it's a simple tip, but I find it useful, and I hope you do as well. And thank you to whichever person told me about this originally, because I think it's a great tip, and I wanted to share it with everybody else too. So hope it helps. Okay, if you found that tip useful, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. And I'd also love it if you go hit my main channel page on YouTube here. I have over 600 videos now. I think a lot of them are really useful, and there's definitely a whole bunch of projects for you to try. So check it out. I think there's a lot of valuable stuff over there. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel too. So make sure to do that. You can even hit the bell if you want notifications of when I produce videos. I do 3 per week, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and one on Saturday. So you're sure to have a whole load of interesting silversmithing information coming through. I'd like to thank some groups of people too. My patrons over on Patreon are my core group of supporters. They are a marvelous group of people with a lot of talent. Not only do they provide me with some financial help, they also have created a really nice community where people can share ideas and show each other what they're working on, and resources and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice place over there, and I really appreciate it. So thank you for making it that way. The other group are my YouTube subscribers. We passed 27,300 recently. That's amazing. Thank you for that. I can't believe that many people are following me, but thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I also really appreciate the nice comments that you guys leave. Suggestions for videos, comments about the projects, constructive criticism is always valued. And I really love to hear your stories and your techniques as well. So thanks for doing those comments. That really makes the channel a nice place. I do also appreciate your financial support. The Buy Me a Coffees, the super thanks. People who buy my ebook and the merch purchases. It's hard to say merch purchases. But thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Don't forget the video description down below. There's some important links, including a link to my merch store, my newest ebook, or Patreon if you want to find out more about those different tiers in Patreon. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching today. Take care. Happy silversmithing.